What I love about open source software is that it allows more people to shape the software that's shaping our world.
We really wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have community if it wasn't for our open source.
If you look around the industry, you'll see so much of what we do is powered by open source software, even if you don't know it.
Open source is at the heart of pretty much most technologies that people are using today.
It's so important because it's also a way to share ideas.
So if you want software that really serves a lot of different types of needs, that serves different types of communities, you need more people building that software, and open source allows for that. What I love about open source software is that it allows more people to shape the software that's shaping our world.
We really wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have community if it wasn't for our open source.
If you look around the industry, you'll see so much of what we do is powered by open source software, even if you don't know it.
Open source is at the heart of pretty much most technologies that people are using today.
It's so important because it's also a way to share ideas.
So if you want software that really serves a lot of different types of needs, that serves different types of communities, you need more people building that software, and open source allows for that.
Hello everyone, Mabuhay. My name is Serena and I'm the Developer Marketing Lead for Southeast Asia at Amazon Web Services. Congratulations PWA on your anniversary. At AWS, we are committed to fostering diversity and inclusion globally and are always looking for ways to amplify voices and empower diverse communities such as yourself. We're glad to be alongside with you, contributing back to the Philippines women in technology. Thank you for the amazing work you do, and have a wonderful anniversary celebration.
What I love about open source software is that it allows more people to shape the software that's shaping our world.
We really wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have community if it wasn't for our open source.
If you look around the industry, you'll see so much of what we do is powered by open source software, even if you don't know it.
Open source is at the heart of pretty much most technologies that people are using today.
It's so important because it's also a way to share ideas.
So if you want software that really serves a lot of different types of needs, that serves different types of communities, you need more people building that software, and open source allows for that.
Okay. Good day, everyone. I'm Andresito de Guzman, the Community Lead for PWA Pilipinas. Welcome to Web Talk Hacktoberfest edition. We are broadcasting live via the PWA Pilipinas Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages. Hacktoberfest is a month-long celebration of open source software run by DigitalOcean in partnership with Intel, Appright, and DeepSource, with a strong focus on encouraging contributions to open source projects. PWA Pilipinas Hacktoberfest is a series of events that will allow participants to learn about open source and new technologies like progressive web apps, lit. So with boot camps to learn the basics of the web and an introduction to progressive web apps, one can make meaningful open source contributions. Tonight, we'll learn about lit and how to make a site with web components. But before we begin, let me first introduce our organization, PWA Pilipinas. Oops. Okay. So, we are PWA Pilipinas, the community for makers, designers, and users of progressive web apps in the Philippines. Our mission is to introduce and nurture progressive web apps development and adoption in the Philippines and beyond by fostering a community for subject matter experts, enthusiasts, adopters, and developers of the platform, and by providing resources and engagements to further stimulate interest in progressive web apps. Because our vision is that progressive web apps would be adopted widely here in the Philippines. But wait, what's that PWA I'm talking about? Well, progressive web apps, or PWAs are your web applications but are supercharged with native app-like features such as having the ability to be installed, work offline, and work across all different devices and form factors. And as I've said earlier that we are celebrating Hacktoberfest, we do have different events scheduled. So recently we had our Hacktoberfest celebration last October 10, where we had different talks about open source and deployment to Azure. Yeah, we also have today web talks. We're going to learn about Lit, and we also have a boot camp happening on October 16th to 17th. That's with Zuit, and it's a code with PWA, Foundational Web Coding for Beginners. So make sure to check our Facebook page for details. Also, we have an introduction to progressive web apps this October 21. It is in partnership with Stack League. And on October 23, we have another celebration for open source. And make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Just search for PWA Pilipinas. And we also have a Discord server that you can join. And make sure to also install or visit app.pwpilipinas.org for our PWA Pilipinas app. It's also on Google Play if you have an Android device, or through the Microsoft Store if you have a Windows PC. Okay, there's our pages. And if you're looking for somewhere to contribute this Oktoberfest, we have our PWA Pilipinas Community Pledge. Just search for PWA Pilipinas on GitHub. And, okay, so let's not make this any longer. Do we have any shout-outs right now? So if you do have shout-outs, make sure to leave them down at the comments below. We'll also be giving e-certificates tonight. Yes, that you've asked it. We will be providing a feedback form later that you would be filling up so that we can give you that e-certificate. So there's a shout out from Joshua Salud II. He is a BSIT 4A at Cavsu Naik Campus. Hello. We also have Reka. Reka says hello. And we also have Mary Jane. Thank you. Just make sure to fill up the form with your complete name later so it would be easier for us. Okay, so I guess let's introduce our speaker for tonight. So our speaker is Toni-Jan Keith Monserrat, or TJ. He's a researcher who focuses on human-computer interaction field, or HCI. He's also working on research in pedagogy and technology in interactive platforms on learning. He volunteers his time and expertise to various organizations such as Google Developers Group Philippines, User Experience Philippines, Philippine Web Designers Organization, and ACM Special Interest Group on Computer-Human Interaction. His love for speed and performance as part of the design makes him love his mission to help others do performant-ready web apps and baked into them performance-ready patterns into their design toolset. Please welcome on the PWA Pilipinas live stream, Sir TJ. And it is my pleasure for you to be here tonight. Hi, sir.
Hi guys. I hope you guys can hear me. Hello, hello. Hi.
Hello. Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Shout out naman. Anyway, so wait. Set up ko lang tong aking ano.
So, habang nag-set up si Sir TJ, sabol lang natin itong shoutout from Byron Vargas. Yan. Shoutout sa mga dev ng Camsur Bicol. Wow, layo nang nararating natin.
Hey, dev. Hi. Hi guys. So,
Hello,
again, hello. My name is TJ Monserrat, and you guys can call me TJ, and I'll be talking about how to build a website using Lit. So what you'll be seeing now is currently what I'm using as of the moment. Actually, I've made I've made Andre use it on some of the projects. I don't know what the experience is, but in anyway, this is certainly a build of what I'm using when it comes to lit element. So just to introduce first what lit is, let's go right on the um, slides. So setting the expectations, what is lit, why we want to use lit, and how to use lit, and things to remember when using lit to create a performant web. So first and foremost, what is lit? So lit is a simple library for fast, lightweight web components. It can provide the active states, scope styles, declarative template system. So what it means by declarative template systems is that um, when it comes to just putting in whatever it is in, like let's say in HTML, you put in a um, form tag there. You don't need to describe, or you don't need to code pa yung what is a form. What it means by declarative is whatever it is, it will work. So what we will show you how it seems na pagka nilagay nyo lang siya as is within the template system ng lit, it works already. Now, what does it look like? It looks like this. This is what I'm saying about declarative. You just declare the tag that you have created, simple greeting, and it will show up this way. So under the hood, we exported a class and defined it as simple dash greeting as a tag name. Because it's a class, you need to have a constructor, and then this is that name. And we define the properties in itself. And we can also define the styles in here. And then we render it using the HTML template tag with the variable that can be changed whenever you change the properties in itself. We can also use decorators. This is using the lit element before, but we'll use the lit element now. Where in the decorators, we can just define it as is instead of this long definition of putting custom elements, which is window.customelements.define. We just define it here, and it encapsulates the class itself into the custom element greeting. We can also encapsulate the name variable to be at property with the at property decorator, and we already defined that it is something that will be reactive whenever it changes. So I'll show it later on how it works, but so yeah. Lit allows you to create reusable web components with a small footprint base to start with at around 6 kilobytes gzip. So ang ibig sabihin nito, within 6 kilobytes, you only need to um, just add in your own code, and it will work. It will work within, let's say, at below 50 or 100 kilobytes, which is the usual size or optimal size of a website na gusto nyong para mabilis siyang mag-load over the web. It is compatible now with modern browsers. As you can see, Chrome, Safari, Firefox, and Edge is already compatible. Internet Explorer 11, dun sa mga gusto pa ring habulin yung Internet Explorer 11, I don't know why, but yun na nga. And then, for those who don't usually update their browsers because of maybe company reasons or whatever it is, it has load polyfill. Now, it is also compatible with other web frameworks. We can check with the custom elements everywhere na it's 100% compatible except for React. There are still a few things when it comes to React, especially on handling events, but it still can be worked around. I think there is already a workaround on this one. So I'll just go start na agad. This is yung simple build ko. I do hope it is something na kita naman. So I'm using Webpack here for this exercise para lang mabilis siyang uh, uh, or mabundle siya into a simple website. You can check it at here, itong GitHub TJ Monsi Simple Lit website. But as you can see, I have declared it my element here, and then um, I'm for the purposes of making sure that it's already loadable also on um, lower version na browsers, I'm adding web components loader here, and I have also created a script, a long ass script na automatically checks if your browser is um can uh do or can use ES5 and above. If it's not, if it doesn't, if it cannot do ES5, it loads the polyfills later on. So in essence, this is my base website. And as you can see here, again, I'm using a decorator my element from here, which is now lit element instead of lit. And then, of course, I can change this one to H1. And as you can see, I can remove itong hello world na to. And if I refresh it, ito na yung kalalabasan. Now, if I add a particular property, let's say a property in this case, let's say a property that is let's have it as count equals to 0. This is the base count, and then I add count this that count. Okay, yeah. Now it's currently running now. If I make it as this, I refresh. Wait, let me check. Oh, okay, that is stupid of me. I forgot to add the property decorator. So it should now, okay, there's the count. As you can see here, if I add a button, type button, I'll just add BR here for uh, yeah, BR, then another BR just for the sake of it, and then add count. And then what I do here is if I click on it, so at click, what it does is this add count. So that, yeah, so I add a function here which actually handles an event, but we will not need the event. We just add count plus plus. Let's see. And as you can see, if I make it bigger, as you can see, it is within those simple steps here. I just added the variable here, and I just added a click event, a click handling event, and I add the function within the class, it auto and then just say that discount changes, and if I click on it, it automatically does what I need to make it do, instead of like going through the hoops of like creating an event listener, um, adding a um, particular add event function, and then rewriting the whole element. We have created, instead of doing all of those things, we have created in such a simple thing here, a reactive website already. So, additional things, what if I want to create a simple application? What I can do is I have actually created a routing mechanism, which I haven't. It's sort of an open source thingy that um I should be using, or I should be developing, but I haven't got the time to um do it. So what I'm going to install is, where's my, I need to get my notes. So I will just do this. Yeah, there you go. I need to get my so what you're seeing here right now is something that I did before, in essence, where if and when things are if and when the website is not yet able to get the polyfills, it will do it later until the web components wait for has been called. So if web components is initialized, then it will call it will get this and make it true, and then call the initialize function. So the initialize function, I'm just going to create it as a function here. Async function, initialize, so that it is sort of in the same um, system. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to install something. So I created my own routing mechanism, which is a bit um, a bit crude as of the moment. So I'm just going to explain it later on. So for in this setup, I'm going to import set routes, and add route, and we'll add that later. Set routes first. DJ Monsi lit router. And then from here, we just set the routing to, let's say, if I want to have a page home, we have this page home, and then uh, the loader is a let's say we create a page, pages folder here, and let's say this is the page home.js. So from here on out, we just import nope, not this one, pages, page home. We can do this. Then from page home, I'm just going to um, import the whole thing. Then instead of this, we just say HTML um, H1 H1 hello world page. Let's see if this works. I'm not yet too sure. Then instead of this, we have a lit outer, which I'm going to use. Let's see if okay. Set router is not defined. I made a boo boo. Set roots pala. Let's see. Wait. No root for not home. Ah, okay. Um, I have to set a not found. I'll just copy the same thing first for now. Ah, meron na ako ah. Okay. Dapat no root found for not found. Okay. So, meron akong error. Aha! Sabi ko na dapat tinesting ko muna to bago ako magsimula eh. Wait one as I debug the whole thing. So if you have questions, wow, si Nika nandyan pala oh. Nakita mong nagkakaroon ako ng problem sa ngayon. Let's see. This is how you it says here 204 hit router. Uh, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Endong na natin lang to. Oh. Anyway, it's always a problem when you're doing live coding. Um, aha. Get author is okay. I should have fixed this, but ang mangyayari kasi dito is once you have set the system, so I'm going to just check if this works on the other end. So ito kasi yung code ko nung una. As you can see, I have created set roots dito. It's still installing, so I'm just going to wait a bit. Habang naghihintay tayo mag-install yung aking old code, do you guys have questions as of the moment? Things that you want to know about lit HTML or lit element?
Okay, if you have questions, you may comment them and we're going to read them here live.
Tagal niya. Alam ko na kung bakit yan nagtatagal kasi in-install niya yung yung Chrome. Ano nga ulit yun? Yung Chrome Puppeteer. Yes. Because I've added the installer, I've added the test case suite dito eh. Meron po bang insert dito?
Yes.
Si Kuya ang makakasagot. Kuya Andre.
Meron after the event. So, make sure to watch until the end. So, we will give yung feedback form later. Make sure to fill it with your full name mamaya. Okay.
So, ang ginawa ko dito lang sa code na to is I just make it na parang I created a blog list dito. Although it will not work kasi wala yung backend niya. Grabe, ang tagal niya. Tagal nung code. Ang tagal nung pag-install. So, wait lang guys.
While waiting, sir, ano yung difference ng lit sa ibang libraries like React?
So, when it comes to Although I could say na na pagdating sa React and Lit and you can create small mini widgets of it that can be installed everywhere in essence. But uh, what I'm seeing is if you want to have a cross framework or cross library na parang drag and drop lang or something like that, or just install and then usable na siya. Lit is a better choice kaysa sa like sa React or let's say sa Angular. The thing with these frameworks kasi with uh, React and Angular and Vue is that for development teams, they are a better choice because you'll be having or you'll be using, let's say, React for the whole website and hindi ka naman gagamit talaga ng sa labas or anything else. Um, but if you're creating something that will be usable across the board and let's say this development team is using React and then the other development team is using Angular and then the other development team is using um, Vue, the best use case for this is using lit element which can be reusable for all. Like kunyari gagawa ka ng sarili mong for all. Wala akong maisip na isang example dito, but gagawa ka ng sarili mong um, calendar picker, parang ganon. Does it work? Does it work? Does it work? Does it work? Yan. So, wala kasing ano. So, wala kasing backend. But, this is the page na lalabas dito. If I'm just going, babalikan ko ulit yung question mo kanina ha. I'm just going to show lang if I create let's say a different home, let's say page 2, and then dito sa page 2 na to ay gumawa lang ako ng router, then pinangalan ko to as page 2, and ang itsura nito ay hello world, go back to href. So this is like a simple ang tawag dito? This is a simple link lang, and on page home I created a link then to go to href page 2, parang ganyan. Page 2, and then what I do is set it up on the router. So ang gagawin ko lang dito ay page 2, and instead of that we just as page 2 ito, ganyan, and we refresh this one. Ay, ingot ko, ni-refresh ko yung buong git pod ko instead of the I'll just open na lang sa browser. So ayan, may page 2 ako. Pag click ko yon, automatically it changes the page without reloading the page. So parang may sarili kang simple website na and kunyari, yun nga what I do is magawa ko ng isa pa, let's say something. This is a 404. So pagka ni-refresh ko siya, ayan, page 2, it will still go back there. This is a 404. 404 not found. So automatically nag-aano siya if we go sa ano ba yung nangyayari on the side. So let's just look it here on the network. So if we load it up, so mapapansin niyo dito that we'll go on the JS part. So mapapansin niyo dito na yan siya. If I load page 2, or 404, ayan, mapapansin nyo na it loads the next page later on, hindi kasabay nung buong app site itself. So it does lazy loading of the next website. As of the moment, it has 207 kilobytes of resource size because we are using ano lang, tawag mo dyan, the dev server. But if we're going to build it, as ano, as is, so let's stop muna yung website and npm run build. Oops. Package, asan na yun? Package.json. npm run build. We'll see here sa distribution how big is the size of the package itself. So let's just wait for it. Okay, so there's the distribution. Yung main bundle, we're going to load yung main bundle. There is a worker dito. So there's the main bundle. Paano ko nga malaman kung gaano kalaki to? Download na lang natin. Yes, keep. So the main bundle is 118 kilobytes. So 18 kilobytes JS in gzip. How do I know it again? Simula. Size in gzip. Usually, paano ko nga to? Nalimutan ko yung way para malaman yun. Wait. Baka merong serve dito ng server. Or you can just do npm ig HTML server this. Wait, ulit yun. Server npm. npx. So let's see. npx html server this. Could not determine executable to run. Okay, hindi niya ma-determine. Never mind. Ayaw eh. Ito naman lahat, no? Okay. HTTP, sorry. That's npm IG HTTP server. HTTP server this. Yon. So make public open browser. Ayan. Let's see how big is the ayan. So mapansin nyo, the whole site is around 83.7 kilobytes lang. Okay, later ko sasagutin yung iba na nandito. But as you can see, it's already some sort of a full-fledged working website. Magdadagdag ka na lang ng mga palamuti. It's actually a blog website itong ginawa ko noon that will load the blog posts on a back-end server na running. So, ayan. It is sort of working. Wala lang yung blog, but again, if I go back here and add things, it's already as if actually meron na din yata tong meron na ba tong not like yes, meron na siyang service worker. How do I know? Kasi meron akong service worker na in-install dito. Oops, sorry. Wala nga pala. As you can see, lahat nanggagaling na sa service worker. Wala na akong tinatransfer na bytes. And it works like a charm. If I go back dun sa site itself, gawin kong offline yung site, it still works. So, I didn't show kung paano idagdag yung service worker dito. So, I think it would be best to do first yung kasi medyo yung ginawa ko ditong part is I created my own way of loading the service worker using Webpack. But, yun na nga. I'll just go back dun sa slides just to finish muna yung talk ko before tayo mag Okay. So, things to remember lang for a performant web. Even if you're using other frameworks or libraries like React, Vue, Angular, or even ditong Lit, you still need to learn how to use proper HTML. It's always something that I really want to say every time I give a talk kasi laging nagre-reinvent lagi ang mga developers natin kasi they think that the basic HTML like yung form, gumagawa sila ng bagong form, hindi nila ginagamit yung form. Tapos gumagawa sila ng mga checkers. When in fact, your browsers already have built-in checkers for you and so on and so forth. So, unless the designed experience is not accommodated by the HTML, CSS, and I would also ask the UX, UI designers out there, please do not reinvent the wheel. If the HTML or your web browser already has that functionality. Do not add anything else outside of it, because even if it looks cool, it doesn't work. It will frustrate the users, and it will also frustrate your developers, and magpupush kayo ng timeline even just just for this new cool function na hindi naman um, parang magbibigay pa ng bugs. So, as you can see dito sa example ko, there is like proper usage of the anchor tag. Do not use button. Do not use span na nilagyan nyo ng JavaScript. No, don't. Tapos, for the forms, meron ng types for the inputs that helps you determine kung tama ba yung input. And then, for there are like yung usage of details, where if you click on the summary, it will show or hide the stuff. And then using just simple CSS, you can animate yung accordion niya. Then you'll also have the image loading. This is a very previous or long ago instance, but you can now lazy load images in the image tag, and it's already supported by most browsers. I don't know why Safari is not doing anything about it. That's why I hate Apple sometimes, but yun na nga. Anyway, you can also have picture tag, where you can load different image sizes depending on the size of the screen. So instead of using CSS, you can directly use the HTML itself for that. And then audit your design into components. I'm using Brad Frost's Atomic Web Design as my primary kumbaga primary lens when building stuff, because I can group things and then create reusable components out of them. And then on the design, you can also have colors, typography as a way to componentize your website. So, ayan. So, may mga things na akong ginagamit. So, for recap, Lit is a fast, lightweight library that allows you to create web components. And I would be happy to answer some questions, which is, meron na nandito.
Okay, let's look.
Pasensya po, beginner pa lang po kasi ako. Ngayon ko lang po narinig yung Lit. Saan po ba siya kadalasang ginagamit? Just like I said, you can create websites out of it. You can create mini widgets out of it if you are using. Actually, YouTube is built on Lit, no? YouTube is built on Lit. So, yung buong YouTube website na pinapanood natin, yon is built on Lit. Actually, it was built first in Polymer bago siya maging Lit. So, yun. You can also create parang mini websites that can, instead of using iframe, you just load it up yung JavaScript nun for others to use, and then they can easily plug in your work. Saan po makikita yung index HTML sa template na gamit nyo, sir? Sa template na gamit ko. Teka lang. Yung index.html, well, of course, makikita siya dito. Ayan. Yan yung HTML na output nasa disk. It is automatically compiled using itong index.ejs. So, I've also copied it here. Which is, kailangan ko lang ma-figure out bakit hindi siya gumagana. So, this is yung index.ejs. Then, kino-compile niya and create it into index.html. It uses Webpack, HTML Webpack plugin. So, yun. Yun yung ginagamit ko for that. For that Webpack. Alin po mas better, Ionic po or Lit? I don't have any experience with Ionic, and I always say when it comes to comparing libraries to libraries or framework to framework, it's like comparing apples to oranges para sa akin. Kung gusto mo ng apple, doon ka sa apple. Kung gusto mo ng orange, doon ka sa orange. If you like Ionic, it's good. Doon mas doon ka mag mag magpaka-master in essence. On my end, I switched from React to Polymer and then to Lit just because of the idea that I want my websites to be smaller. And the other thing with um, the websites that I'm creating is it's kumbaga parang less clutter on my end. At least on whatever that I'm using right now, I don't need too much of, let's say, yung mga thunk. Mga bullet yun sa React. Yung mga Redux na may thunk na sila sa Angular na meron din silang I forgot the name of yung sa RxJS observables. Those things are for advanced, yes, and it does something that is useful for the people who are using them. But on my end, if I can create a really really simple website na malinis yung code, very modular and very small yung footprint, Lit yun yung akin. So sa Lit ko nahanap siya. Yun yung akin. Yun po bang pagko-code is somehow the same po with Angular? Yes. It is similar to Angular. It has come a long way from being its own way of coding to making sure that anyone coming from Vue, from Angular, from React can understand and code in lit element. Kasi kung titingnan natin, like dito, it's just the same as meron ka ring render kasi sa React. What I just did here is I created a function na template, which is para lang maging modular para sa akin, which is ito lang siya, export function template, and it returns the HTML. So yung so parang React din siya talaga kung tutuusin. It's just that instead of like capital letters, because you're using the class name as the tag, I'm using the usual way of writing a tag, which is yung HTML standard. For beginner po, ano ang mas dapat unahing pag-aralan sa paggawa ng site? For beginner, magpa-plug-in lang ako. Meron akong YouTube series. Nag-YouTube si Kuya. Meron po akong TJ Learns to Code. I should be updating this soon. Lagi kong sinasabi yun, pero hindi ko pa rin ina-update. Ay, wait. Ba't ako napunta sa studio? May library ako. Ay, bakit ito lumalabas? Hindi. Ay. Ayun. Dito. JavaScript Basics. Ayan. So, JavaScript Basics, you can check it out dito. I can send it na lang later on kay Andresito. Para makita nyo, well, this is for basics on JavaScript. Like, how do you understand, or what is variables, what is scoping, what is primitives, and so on and so forth. But ano yung una mong dapat pag-aralan sa paggawa ng site? Paano gamitin ang HTML? Yun. Yun ang first and foremost. Like, how do you use forms? How do you, when to use H1, when to use div, when to use span. Don't use div and span all the time. And then, next mo is CSS. Once you can create a really simple website ng walang JavaScript na maayos siyang tingnan, then tsaka ka palang mag-JavaScript. Kasi once na mag-JavaScript ka, tas makikita mo, pwede ko tong gawin, pwede ko tong gawin, malilimutan mo na mas madali siyang gawin sa CSS at HTML lang, and mas maliit yung kanyang footprint kaysa sa magdadagdag ka ng JavaScript para lang sa isang simpleng bagay. So, yun. Next question. Ano po ang mas priority ng isang system sa company? Nakalit po ba or Ionic? Wala akong alam. Actually, if I would go for like the usual thing that I know when it comes to like yung mga companies right now, they would go for, sa front end, they would go for React. And then for the back end, they would go PHP. Yun pa rin yung within Philippines, yes. There are some few companies that would go either for Python na naka-Django or Node.js na naka-Express.js or naka-Next.js because naka-React sila. Ionic, I haven't heard much, as well as Lit, hindi masyado siyang gamit sa mga companies, even sa company na sa startup kung saan kami nag-work din ni Andresito, hindi rin ganun kaano yung Lit. Kumbaga, minsan sasabihin ko lang, sige, gamitin natin yung Lit, pero kapag sa client, React. Kasi yun yung pinakamabilis. Yeah. May sample site po kayo na alam na made with Lit. Just want to explore its elements. I do automations, kaya curious ako paano structure pag Lit site. Meron kang alam? Bukod sa YouTube. Andresito. Parang wala.
Meron pa bang iba? Website ko, nakalit.
Yeah, website ni Andresito, nakalit. Yung gagawin kong website na hindi ko pa rin nagagawa, nakalit. Pero ito, yun. Yeah, so in terms of automations kasi, medyo may hirapan ka kung Lit, and especially if the site is using Shadow DOM. Kasi with Shadow DOM, you cannot just go and like query the element. You have to go deep dun sa element na yun eh. So usually, we use Puppeteer plus meron kaming ginagawa sa Puppeteer para mag-automations. Pero dapat kilala namin yung website eh. Parang ganun. Good evening po, sir. Ask ko lang po kung ano-ano ang advantage ng Lit kapag yun ang ginamit para sa pagde-develop ng isang website. Thanks po and God bless. Okay, God bless din. Ano ang advantage? As I've said before, maliit yung footprint ng website. So, I'm just going to show you one experience before nung ginawa ko yung ano nga ba yung ginawa ko nun? Website ng Google Developer Group. So, dati siya. And what I used before was a polymer. Parang polymer siya, which is yung pinagsimulan ng Lit. Saan na yun? Dito pa ba? Hindi. Drafts to eh. Publish. Tut, 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 tut. Wait. No. No. Mm, 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 mm. So, meron akong web app to create, to load under 50 kilobytes on first load. Teka. So, ito yung bundle ko. So, I'm using Webpack here and I'm using the Webpack Analyzer. Now, as you can see here, I got a snapshot, and all in all, the core essentials that I have is already about 50 kilobytes gzip. Polymer with all its legacy library was in 40 KB. If I was using lit element here, it would be less than 40 kilobytes. And given that, ang 50 kilobytes kasi, if your site is working na, meaning interactive na siya, nakakapag-change ka ng page within 50 kilobytes on a slow 3G connection, it will load ng ito nga ba yun? I'm just going to ayan, ito pala. So, now, Justin said that for a normal 3G network, it takes 2 seconds to get the first byte of your web app. If we are targeting a 3.5 second mark to time to interactive, we are only left with 1.5 seconds. In a normal 3G network, a 1.5 load and parse would have approximately 50 kilobytes. So kung yung JavaScript size mo in gzip is 50 kilobytes, it takes 1.5 seconds to load and parse yon. Tapos, on first byte kasi 2 seconds. So, meaning may 3.5. So, around 3.5 to 5 seconds, load na yung website mo. So, kung kaya yun gawin using a really, really optimized na framework na pwede ka pa rin makagawa ng modular website and it does a good web developer experience as well, then it's a win-win. Kasi sobrang bilis nung kung ang internet mo ay hindi meron ba kayo ditong telco yun? Sponsor? Andresito?
Sponsor. Wala naman po.
Wala kayong sponsor na telco, no? Kung ang internet nyo ay hindi globe smart. Kung mabilis yung internet nyo, mas mabuti kasi pagka-click pa lang ng user doon sa pag-load ng website nyo, makikita na niya yung kailangan niyang makita and they would be more engaged. They are more engaged, mas mababa yung drop-off. And kung mas mababa yung drop-off, pwedeng mag-convert into sales, yung and more money, ganyan. On the other end kasi, di ba, na-experience nyo yan. Pagka naghihintay kayo ng pag-load ng website, minsan tatama rin na kayo or minsan mag-change tab kayo. So, that's a lesser chances na makuha mo yung amor ng tao kasi naghihintay kayong mag-load yung. Pero sa atin kasi mga Pilipino tayo, pasensyoso tayo. Kaya natin maghintay ng 1 minute, naglo-load yung website. 2 minutes, maasar ka na, di ba? 1 minute kaya pa natin. Pero kapag sa ibang bansa kasi 5 seconds pa lang lost na yung tao eh. Lost na yung kanilang user base. So, unless kapag kailangan na kailangan nila. Kung ano, pwede silang lumipat. So, the better way is to have it on 50 kilobytes. At least yun yung hard goal ko para sa sarili. Pero, ang pinaka talagang good enough is 150 kilobytes. 150 to 200 kilobytes na first load, and that will be a good enough website na maganda na yung experience kasi they can interact with it na agad. Yun. Question.
Okay. So, may question from the team. Ano daw,
May
yung lit
question
daw ba
from the
is,
team?
sa namin, sir, sa team namin. So, framework agnostic daw po ba si lit? Sabi ni
Yes,
Glenn.
it's framework agnostic siya. As I've shown on the slides kanina, asan na yon? Where is that? Ayan. You can check it on custom elements everywhere, and you can see how, well, actually it's not lit, but it's the custom element na browser, ano nga ba ulit yun? Custom element. So, yung web components API ng browsers natin ngayon, how it works with other frameworks is, you can see, let's say for Angular 1, DIO, Dojo, Hybrid, Hyper HTML, of course, lit element 100%. Mithril is not full. Polymer, yung original, is and then Preact, which is a better React. Riot.js, Kate. Well, Solid, I don't know why, bakit Solid is not, Stencil, Surplus, Svelte, Vue. So, all of these frameworks are working on custom elements. Or frameworks or library is working on custom elements. So, meaning, drop a custom element on a framework and it works as is. With some few workarounds, as you can see here. So, because lit element uses custom elements, parang sugar coating lang talaga si lit element for custom elements. Para lang mabilis mag-code ng custom element yung mga tao without doing any weird things. So, yun. In essence, lit element works everywhere. Sort of. Yeah.
Okay, sir. I guess okay na, no? Let's finish na lang ilang shoutouts. So, from A. Carla Trinidad, thank you po. Ayan. Sabi din ni Julian. Ayan. Thank you, sir. Ayan. Sabi din ni Reka, thank you po, sir. And sabi ni John Michael Andaya, thank you, sir. Sabi naman ni Renee, yan, looking forward sa lit site mo po.
Yes. Plug in lang. So I usually, again, I have yung channel ko sa YouTube, TJ Learns to Code. I also stream coding if kaya ng utak ko. Every Saturday, 10 a.m. Itong past few weekends lang, hindi siya kaya ng utak ko, so hindi ako nakapag-stream. But I stream on Twitch, Twitch TV/TJMONSI, TJ Monsi. So, pwede nyo akong makita doon na either naglalaro or nagko-code. If you have questions, you can follow me on there. And yun.
Okay. Any last words or tips para sa mga, dahil na ngayon, daming students na nanonood sa atin.
Last word. Ang mag-start lang talaga kayo sa HTML. Make sure that you understand the whole concept of how to use the HTML tag, and extend it using CSS, and then go from there. Kasi once na maintindihan nyo yung part na yon, JavaScript would be easier to use in terms of manipulating yung HTML to do your will or to do your bidding. Ganun.
Okay. So
Yun
maraming
lang po.
salamat Sir TJ sa time.
Thank you din.
Sa like first time after almost 2 years na nag-start kami, guest ka na din dito. So
Oo nga
maraming
eh.
salamat.
Salamat.
Okay. So bago mag-end sir, no, so picture muna. So usually yung ginagawa
Ano tayo?
namin, so pinopoint yung fingers
Ayun.
dun sa frame.
So, ay,
Sa
baliktad.
kabila. Ayan.
Okay.
Ayan.
Ay, teka, wait lang.
Sige. Okay. So, 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay.
Yay!
Salamat, sir.
Thank you,
Okay,
thank
so,
you.
Once again, maraming salamat, Sir TJ. So, bago tayo mag-end, ayan, no, yung tanong nila kung may e-certs ba. So, announce ko na. So, visit nyo lang to, bit.ly/lit-feedback. So, make sure na ilagay nyo yung name nyo dyan, yung first name, last name. I-rate nyo, no, paano kami opening and closing yan. So, as a reminder, pa-show ko lang to ulit. So, kung gusto pa umattend, so may libre tayong bootcamp very soon, October 16 to 17. Kung gusto matuto mag HTML, CSS for free. Yan, meron tayong in partnership with Zuit happening on October 16 17. Malapit na. So, check yung Facebook page namin para sa details. Tapos may intro to PWA din tayo in partnership yan with Stack League. And October 23, celebration of open source. Ayan. So kung na-miss nyo to and yung mga past events, make sure to visit lang yung ating yung ating Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Discord, and yung ating app. No? So lahat ng past talks nandyan. Visit nyo lang yung app na pwpilipinas.org. Nasa Google Play din siya and Microsoft search ng PWA Pilipinas. Okay. So, ayan, no? bit.ly/lit-feedback. Ayan. So, magko-close yung feedback form tonight. Ayan. So, once again, ayan. So, ako yung naging host you for tonight, Alicito de Guzman, and see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye!
What I love about open source software is that it allows more people to shape the software that's shaping our world.
We really wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have community if it wasn't for our open source.
You know, if you look around the industry, you'll see so much of what we do is powered by open source software, even if you don't know it.
Open source is at the heart of pretty much most technologies that people are using today.
It's so important because it's also a way to share ideas.
So if you want software that really serves a lot of different types of needs, that serves different types of communities, you need more people building that software, and open source allows for that.
Hello everyone, mabuhay. My name is Serena, and I'm the Developer Marketing Lead for Southeast Asia at Amazon Web Services. Congratulations, PWA, on your anniversary. At AWS, we are committed to fostering diversity and inclusion globally and are always looking for ways to amplify voices and empower diverse communities such as yourself. We're glad to be alongside with you, contributing back to the Philippines women in technology. Thank you for the amazing work you do, and have a wonderful anniversary celebration.